Hello everyone, welcome to part 1 of our Elkhorn North Auditorium Production Technology tutorial video series. The purpose of this series is to help educate everyone who is responsible in some way or will be managing or making a production in our auditorium to make sure that our equipment is used properly, safely, and in the most efficient manner possible. So in this part 1 video, we're going to go over getting started, the basic mode versus production mode aspect on our Extron controller, and sound and lights basics for a basic facility use. So first, we'll just go over what the auditorium is equipped with. First, on our professional sound system, for speakers, there is a set of main array speakers over the stage for the main house. Each side hallway in the auditorium is also equipped with ceiling speakers. There are speakers in the lobby, as well as multiple addressable auxiliary outputs throughout the space, which we usually use for monitor speakers or extra speakers for performers on the stage. In production mode, for mixing microphones and other audio inputs, there is a 32-channel digital mixing console in the sound booth area, which is the Yamaha TF5 model. We have multiple wireless handheld and body-worn microphones made by Shure, the audio company. Most of these are also used in the production mode, however, there are a couple to be used in the basic mode. Also in production mode, our audio infrastructure is supported by 3 digital input-output boxes, which we call stage boxes, or are called TIO boxes by Yamaha, the people that manufactured those, and an input-output patch panel, which can be found upstairs in the sound area on the second level under the catwalk. On the lighting side of things, our space is equipped with a lot of house lights, mini halogen stage lights, which can be found on the catwalk and hanging on the electric battens overhead the stage, as well as some LED effect lighting, which can be found throughout the house, including on the side balconies and over the stage. In a more production mode type setting for the space, we would control these with the ETC Ion console, which we call the light board. In a more of a basic mode setting for smaller productions, we also have a paradigm control system, which is the touch panels and button stations throughout the space. And all of our lights are controlled and communicate with the light systems using DMX gateways over Ethernet, which is called ETCnet. And we'll go over this one more in a future video since that's a little bit more in-depth with the lighting system. We also have a video system in the auditorium. This is used to project video onto the projector from a laptop or from a camera. You can also route video signals back to the band, choir, and drama rooms, and they can also stream over Vivi with some help from District Tech or over channel 75 on the cable box. In a production mode setting, we would use a Blackmagic ATEM video switcher for multiple inputs, which can be found in the light booth. That's if you would use multiple cameras or a combination of a camera and a video source such as a laptop. We have one camera permanently installed in the auditorium. It is a PTZ, which stands for Pan Tilt Zoom. Camera is at the back of the house. It's installed above the light booth glass windows, and that's controlled with the camera controller in the light booth. The Extron system in the auditorium is the main controller for all of our audio and video production. This is accessible by using either of the touchscreens. There's one in the backstage right tower next to the main curtain. There's also one in the sound booth on the desk next to the soundboard. The Extron system controls the power for the camera, how the video is routed throughout the system. It controls the power to the audio amplifiers, which are found in the tower on the second level under the catwalk, and will also be used to mix your audio in basic mode. I know a question we get quite often in the music department by some guests using the space that aren't familiar with it is the difference between basic mode and production mode. So basic mode and production mode are 2 options that you'll find on the Extron panel, and this specifically controls sound and video in the space. In basic mode, you would be using that for a small scale, short duration, low demand, or last minute facility use. It's pretty much the easiest, as the name suggests, the most basic mode to use the Extron system in. You'd use these for things like school assemblies, staff meetings, or if there's a class that needs to use the auditorium for a class period, you would use basic mode. In basic mode, you can use up to 2 microphones. You're allowed 1 video input to be used with the projector screen, and you can also use the camera to broadcast back to the band and choir room if you needed to, or could stream over Vivi. In production mode, you would use that mode for more larger, more involved productions, such as a band or a choir concert. The musicals would use production mode, spring play, and most facility rentals will use production mode because of their technology demands. In production mode, you would have the full range of microphones. You will need to use the TF5 console, as that would be incorporating many more inputs than just 2 microphones. And you also have the ability to route video in production mode to multiple outputs. For the purpose of this video, I'll just discuss basic mode, as that would be used most commonly by folks who aren't maybe as well versed in the auditorium tech. So in basic mode, you'd be using it for a basic production. You'd always start the basic mode process at an Extron panel. Once again, these can be found either backstage in the backstage right tower or in the sound booth next to the sound board. The Extron panels are motion activated. Once you walk up to it, it should turn on. If it doesn't wake up on its own, just tap the screen once to wake it up and then select the basic mode option on the main menu. It'll take about 3 to 5 seconds to wake up and get everything turned on, after which you will be brought to this screen here, which is the basic mode homepage. You'll notice there are video sources at the top. There's a button for audio controls at the bottom left. And then on the far right side of the screen, you'll see a volume fader with a mute button, which is your main volume, main speaker control. To get you started with just 1 microphone, you'll find 1 microphone in the drawer underneath this screen, which is in the tower on the backstage right. And to make sure that your controls are set up properly, just go ahead and select that audio controls button at the bottom left-hand corner. You'll be brought to this screen here. You'll notice that there are quite a few faders on here. Once again, you'll find that 1 microphone in the drawer under the screen. It is the purple microphone with purple tape. It might have a purple windscreen, it might not. It is labeled ENHS HH, which stands for handheld, and A6. This microphone is programmed specifically to communicate with the basic mode receiver, which is in the tower on the 2nd level under the catwalk. This microphone specifically only works with basic mode. It does not work with production mode receivers. In the inverse, none of the production mode microphones will work in basic mode. So if you find the red, orange, yellow, green, or blue, or handhelds 1 through 5, anywhere in the space, those cannot be used with basic mode. You will have to use the purple handheld A6 microphone. On the audio controls page, you'll see 4 inputs. There's wireless 1, wireless 2, media player, and stage right HDMI. That purple microphone A6 is automatically programmed into wireless 1. There is not currently a microphone assigned to wireless 2. However, there is a capability to assign a microphone to wireless 2 if it's needed. That'll just take a little bit more extra planning, and we would just need to go in and change the frequency over there. It's not difficult. The media player is located upstairs on the 2nd level under the catwalk. It only plays CDs and cassettes, so I don't think we've ever used it, and I don't see a time where it would ever be used. But if you're using a CD or a cassette, that would be the control for that, the media player. And then stage right HDMI would be if you're playing any video with audio on the projector screen, that audio would be routed through the stage right HDMI, which is the video input port next to that backstage right tower down near the floor. On the right side of the audio controls, you'll find 3 output faders. The left-right ante is just another fancy word for the side halls, which are the ramps that lead from backstage down to the middle area of the auditorium house. The foyer is the lobby, entry doors, and the lower level area behind the tech booth where people first walk in through the main doors. And then the lighting control is for the speakers in the light booth. If you had an operator in there that needed to hear what was going on outside, you would use that to control the volume in the light booth. Once you've mixed and matched all the audio that you need, you can just click the close button to go back to the main screen. If you're using a laptop to project video, or for some reason you want to use the camera with the projector screen, On the main basic mode page, across the top, you will find 6 video input sources. There's the media player, which again is upstairs for CDs, cassettes, and DVDs. The booth HDMI is an HDMI port found under the desk in the light booth, under the light board specifically. Stage right HDMI, which is found on the right-hand backstage side next to that tower. Stage left HDMI is on the stage left side in the same general area against the wall. And then pit right and pit left HDMI are 2 HDMI ports that are in the orchestra pit. Those would only really be used if the pit was taken out for a musical or something of that nature. Do note that if you're in basic mode, audio will only pass to the system if you use the stage right HDMI. So if you're having a school assembly or something like that where you're showing a video or something that requires audio to be played through the system, you will need to use the stage right HDMI port. And then once you select one of those inputs, the projector screen will automatically come down and turn on and will route to whatever you have selected. Once you've finished using the facility for whatever you're using it for, you will need to shut down the system. This prevents heat damage to the sound and video equipment. It lowers the runtime on things like the camera, the ATEM video switcher, and it's just a good rule of thumb to prevent wear and tear on the equipment to just make sure everything is turned off when you're done. And to do that, just on the main page, there's a power button on the bottom right-hand corner. Just press that and it'll bring up a second screen that will confirm that you want to power down the system, and then just hit power down, it'll do it. The lighting system in basic production, there's not necessarily a basic mode to the lighting system. However, if you use the paradigm control panel, that in itself is kind of like the basic mode. You'll find 2 of these screens in the space. One of them is backstage in the backstage right tower. The other screen can be found in the light booth next to the front door to the booth. You can wake up the screen by tapping it once, and then press the enter button in the top right hand corner to enter the control aspect of the screen. You'll get to this screen. Once you press enter, you'll notice quite a few buttons on here. For a basic production, you'll only need to use the left hand side, the preset buttons. You'll select the desired preset button there on the left. We're going to get some menus or printouts to put next to each of the button stations that say which each preset does. Some of them, preset 1 turns on all the house lights and some work lights over the stage. Preset 2 will turn on stage lights but dim the house lights, and so on. They all have different things to do and can be used for different events going on in there. There is a raise and lower option next to the presets that does adjust the intensity, but we were advised by the installers not to use that function because most of our house lights are LED and our work lights are LED, and the raise and lower function will drop the voltage below a safe operating level and could damage the LEDs. So we generally don't touch those. We try not to use them. There are other options on the right-hand side. These are mostly used for rentals, as we'll program different scenes into some of those events, theater, music options. We can program different scenes into there as they're needed, maybe by admin or spring play or whoever might be using the space more than once that have their own lights that they need. They would just need to do so with the light board, and we can get into that in a later video. There is a lock wall stations button in the center of the screen that will disable all of the button stations throughout the auditorium. There's quite a few of these button stations. There's one next to every door and quite a few spaced out throughout the audience. They are accessible by the audience, and so it is necessary to lock the wall stations when you have an audience, such as if you have an assembly with students. You'd want to lock those button stations, or a concert with small children running around. Those would control the lights and could override what is going on, maybe from the light board or from a current preset. So we always lock the wall stations whenever we have people in there. Once you're done in the auditorium, the lights are usually the last thing that are turned off before the space is completely vacated. This is the most important one to shut down out of everything in there. The system must be turned on after it's used. There can be heat damage caused and aging to our halogen bulbs. Our stage lights are halogen bulbs, and so the longer they run, the higher risk they are of popping or burning out. And the LED units as well will heat up as they're turned on throughout the day, and that could damage the circuitry inside if they're left on for too long. So before you shut down, make sure you unlock the wall stations if you had them locked, so that you can use the button station to shut the lights off on your way out if you choose not to use a touchscreen. And then you can press the off button on the touchscreen or from any button station to shut off all the lights in the auditorium. Make sure that all doors are locked as you exit as well to keep the security of the auditorium intact. As I said, make sure wall stations are unlocked and press the off button. So that's basic facility use. If you'd like additional videos on some more in-depth use of the auditorium, I will be making a few more that will discuss how to use the light board, how to use the soundboard, and some more advanced video features if you're doing some extra camera work or video work in the auditorium. As always, if there's any questions or any issues, feel free to send me an email, and I'll get back as quickly as I can. And thanks so much.